have an infinite game playing against a zero-sum game,
Right.
and an infinite game is going to it's repricing it all, right? So if you think of what's happening in Bitcoin, here's a way to quantify it, to take yourself out of what's happening for people who don't know what's happening. Like holding Bitcoin, right? And it's just holding. I'm just going to hold it forever. Imagine being in Argentina and saying, I'm just going to hold US dollars.
Even though most people are unaware of it, something significant is happening. You can't see the crash on a screen. It hurts more and moves more slowly. Your money subtly depreciates each year. Your salary has less purchasing power. You stop saving money. You seem to be trapped on repeat, no matter how hard you try. Examine Argentina in detail. That nation has experienced things that the rest of the world is only now starting to comprehend. Their currency has repeatedly fallen in value. They lost their purchasing power due to inflation. You can purchase groceries one day, prices double the following day. Pay stays the same. People only attempt to survive. They are incapable of planning. According to Jeff Booth, Argentina is no longer the only country dealing with this issue. His caution is obvious. If they are not using Bitcoin, then everyone is in Argentina. They don't want you to be aware of that aspect of Bitcoin in 2025, because you wouldn't ever trust traditional money again if you truly understood it. The majority of people are blind to the fact that the dollars, euros, and yen in their wallets are losing value every day. More money printing boosts the economy. According to governments, however, Booth recognizes reality. It merely deprives those who were saved. It's not clear. It resembles a foundation leak. Silent but heartbreaking. According to Booth, we are trapped in a financial system that was designed to fail. Inflation continues. People work harder merely to keep their heads above water as debt mounts. He is sounding the alarm for that reason. Without Bitcoin, Booth claims, the future already resembles Argentina. Ongoing financial strain, no means of saving money, and no way out until you abandon the outdated system. To learn more, let's watch a few more snippets from Jeff Booth's interview. For more in-depth material, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We appreciate your return visit. Watch the remainder of the video.
All sorts of emerging companies that are emerging. And of course it would look like this because the free market is designed to solve problems. And the existing system is full of problems that can't be solved from that system.
Right.
So you have entrepreneurs essentially moving their time to the system and driving their ideas of what can solve the problem. Not all the things will work, but their ideas of how to solve those problems in a very different way than has ever been done before. So it's wildly exciting. And here's the thing I pinch myself on. I wouldn't have seen this. I wouldn't have seen any of it or been part of it if I didn't move my time to it. Mm-hmm. Right. And then by spending more time into it, you start to see opportunities everywhere, and that's just get it. So it feels like it's getting easier and easier and easier is what's totally.
Yeah.
Like, so I think of some of these companies that I wouldn't have found them, they wouldn't have found me, and team. And what's happened as a result of that synergy, and creating something totally different or something really exciting. It's just been a wild ride. Yeah, I would just say nothing has changed in my hypothesis. Nothing has changed in the last, except for more people understanding it's right.
Yeah.
And not only understanding it's right, that they could choose to live in an extractive system and in crypto and try to make more money in that, and the consequences of that. Or they could choose to live in the first global free market that's ever existed, and win out of that. So you have an infinite game playing against a zero-sum game, right. And an infinite game is it's repricing it all, right? So if you think of what's happening in Bitcoin, here's a way to quantify it, to take yourself out of what's happening for people who don't know what's happening. Like holding Bitcoin, right? And it's just holding. I'm just going to hold it forever. Imagine being in Argentina and saying, I'm just going to hold US dollars. Right? You would escape the crushing devaluation of that, and you would look better than all of your friends in El Salvador, in Argentina. And that would be one way to do it. But what if you instead asked, I'm going to instead of just holding it, I'm going to create businesses in US dollars that are denominated, and I'm going to build balance sheets in US dollars. It would be an entirely different game that you'd be playing. You'd be now realize that everyone in the world, everyone is living in Argentina if they're not in Bitcoin. Right. and we're building Bitcoin companies. Like, it doesn't even seem fair. It doesn't even like these companies are growing profitable, and they're adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets each month, and they're doing that by providing value in the free market, and they're expanding this network to the point that other people are starting to see this, and major capital is starting to see this and wanting to be involved in us with us, not just from we're going to make more money. Our time is aligned with where we want the world to go. So, and which is remarkable to see, but in helping form that thesis and pulling a whole bunch of people outside of this box that they were in and just being constant in it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are starting to see themselves as they are the system. I would say it's so early in this still. Mm-hmm. It's so crazy early, but the answer is yes.
Yeah.
The answer is that's why it was really easy to raise the second. It was way easier to raise $100 million in the second fund than it was the $27.5 million in the first. It's just, I think what it is just like in Bitcoin, is proof of work. Right? It's yeah. So it's absolutely, and so I think in terms of Bitcoin. I have no fear of spending in Bitcoin and replacing, but I think, and so I do that every day. But I think in terms of Bitcoin, in other words, I'm contributing. I'm both a part of the map and the territory in the first global free market that's ever existed. And the 45% risk-free rate that I'm referring to is actually relative to the other system. It's actually higher than that because the deflation in this system, right, in the first global free market, is accelerating. And so, and I've used this house as an example before, but I keep on forgetting to update the numbers, right? So this house that I'm sitting in was 300 Bitcoin 5 years ago. And now it's 11 Bitcoin, right? And it's just falling. Energy prices are following the same thing. So when I think about the risk-free rate, or when I think about that just holding Bitcoin, now the only way to beat that rate, that's why I said just holding it in Argentina.
For Jeff Booth, Bitcoin is the easy fix. He claims that because Bitcoin has a fixed quantity, it transforms everything. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Thus, no one is able to print any more. Not banks, not governments, not anybody. Bitcoin retains its value as a result. It doesn't swell. Unlike conventional money, it maintains its value over time. The situation in Argentina is the exact opposite of this. While their currency continues to depreciate, Bitcoin's value remains stable over time. Booth is the manager of the Bitcoin-only investment fund, Ego Death Capital. He believes in more than just keeping Bitcoin. He is constructing legitimate enterprises on top of it. His fund only makes investments in businesses that use Bitcoin directly. He adds that Bitcoin is comparable to the risk-free rate. This means that an investment or business isn't worthwhile if it can't outperform just holding Bitcoin. According to him, Bitcoin outperforms the previous system by roughly 45% annually. Why? Because Bitcoin is rising while other currencies are declining. Booth adds that utilizing Bitcoin for your company gives you a competitive edge. Your business would expand more quickly than others in a nation like Argentina if it made money in US dollars rather than pesos. According to him, this is how Bitcoin enables businesses to make and save a lot of money while others struggle. Bitcoin is more than just an asset to Booth. It serves as the cornerstone of a more robust and equitable economic structure. Furthermore, he thinks the system is already under construction. To learn more, let's check other interview snippets.
US dollars, and that would be one way, right, to escape that devaluation rate, but that's pegged against the devaluation rate, right? What if you're building businesses on top of that are actually turning into Bitcoin, essentially Bitcoin engines of growth? Your balance sheets are building in Bitcoin, and you're so that's our bar for investment. That's my bar for investment. I would never make an investment where I didn't think that we could outpace the just holding Bitcoin. Just like if you thought the risk-free rate of capital was 5% at the bond rate, it's not. But if you thought it was that, you would take more risk to try to you might go into distressed debt at 12%. Because you were trading on, you might go into equity at 20% risk. Now it just changes the calculation, and I believe the risk-free rate is at minimum 45%. And so you're looking at companies that can grow their Bitcoin treasury, and by providing value to by creating value to others. The only way you get paid in the free market more than anybody else is by creating more value for them. Yeah, so I suspect that in time there'll be specialists of venture capital across in tiny little that are better in certain different things. Right now, it's so early in this that it's a wide net, and you're seeing things. And when I say wide net, it's a global fund, so you're seeing different things in different markets globally, and we get to see some incredible founders and incredible companies all over the world, and so it's been wild. Coming from an entrepreneur, problems are the entrepreneur's fuel. And I find it fascinating that so many people talk about all the problems with Bitcoin, or the problems in understanding it, or the problems, because what entrepreneurs do is go fix those problems, get paid for it. Right. And so you have a whole bunch of people in the other system worried about Bitcoin, when you have other people racing out of that system to solve problems and getting paid for it. So and just because the way the world works today, there's almost an infinite amount of problems from that existing system. And people moving their time into solving Bitcoin scalability, privacy, different things in layers on top of Bitcoin, obviously create staggering opportunities to provide an off-ramp for all of these people that are going to be stuck. But that off-ramp is what you're doing. It's what Natalie Brunel's doing. It's what Sam Callan is doing. It's what all of these people are doing. They're finding their niche where they're the best, right, where they can really add value. And if I watch some of what's happened with my friends through this, right, and what's happened to their lives, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. They've moved to provide more value. As they provide more value, the market responds, and they're exploding. I don't think there is one. I really like. I think there's beliefs of them, rather than then there's lots of opportunity to build businesses on top of this protocol that create opportunities. But I think foundationally problems, and I think we already have enough of the protocol stack. If you said like the bones of the protocol stack, Bitcoin at the base, Lightning Liquid, you could consider Arc or Spark and such, and scaling layer, Fediment, you include Cashew there, Noster, all of these things that now can create other things and that's you can use you don't have to rebuild any of the technology. You just use this, and you create some value on top. I don't think people know it exists, rather than it exists. So you're having now developers and such moving into this and reusing these pieces of these different protocol stacks, and spinning up things faster and faster and faster.
August is one of the worst performing months in history, and Bitcoin just took a 5% nosedive, falling from $100,330 to $100,300 over the weekend. This isn't just another dip, though it might mark a significant turning point in Bitcoin's unrelenting surge. Bitcoin needs to maintain the $110,000 support level in order to have a realistic chance of retesting its all-time high, according to IG Markets analyst Tony Sycamore. Why is this so important? Because $112,000 was not a random amount. It was the rational pullback objective and the prior all-time high. For a short time, Bitcoin recovered $114,800. However, whether risk appetite endures the recent economic shocks in the U.S., such as a dismal employment report and impending tariff conflicts, will now determine its future. The catch is this: even if Bitcoin maintains its above $110,000 level, $125,000 remains a significant resistance barrier, and Sycamore does not anticipate any quick catalyst to break beyond. However, be ready for a severe decline to the 200-day moving average, $99,355, which could wipe out bullish momentum if support breaks. He's not by himself either. Arthur Hayes, a renowned crypto theorist, recently reiterated similar cautions, pointing to macroeconomic challenges that could push Bitcoin back to $100,000 or less. August has historically been the worst month for Bitcoin bear traps. In August, Bitcoin has lost an average of 11.4% per month since 2013. Bitcoin fell 8.6% in 2024, and it fell much lower in 2023 and 2022, hitting $27,300 and $19,800, respectively. This month, Bitcoin might drop to $15,000 if past trends continue. September isn't any better either. In the past 12 years, 8 have finished in red. Don't give up though. When Bitcoin surged 13.8% in 2021, it was the last bullish August. This August might surprise expectations if the 4-year market cycle extends into 2025. In summary, Bitcoin is teetering on the brink of collapse. We're not out of the game at more than $110,000. The party might be over if you break below. This goes beyond simple technical analysis. It's in the front row of the most intense conflict we've witnessed this year between bearish reality and bullish hopes. Thank you for viewing, and please remember to like and subscribe. We appreciate your time, and please remember to like and subscribe.